Because it is.
Bam. Bam. And the Sunday afternoon thing, I have to say, I don't know why I never thought about recording on a Sunday afternoon. As long as, like, there isn't something crazy event going on or something, it's like, I've already worked in the morning, why not record? Why not throw in a recording, too? Yeah, it's like, duh, why didn't we ever think of this one before? Okay.
Oh, it's my day off, so you're making me work on my day off.
Oh, sorry. Sal.
Just wanted to rub that into you.
I do know the feeling when I have to record on Fridays. I get it, Sal.
Yep, I know.
Yeah, and you're making us work on the only day a week we work, because we only work on Sundays.
That's right. For an hour a day.
Got to consolidate, man. Okay, so...
Party on, guys.
Party on.
Rock
Cool.
on. Well, welcome back. Welcome back, podcasters, to another episode of the Party on Johncast. Most excellent podcast dealing with music, coffee, whatever we're drinking, and totally awesome, righteous theology, or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof.
This is the Reverend Sal Marco, the Angel of Death, an ordained teaching elder in the Ministry of Hospice Chaplaincy in the Presbyterian of the Highlands, the PCUSA.
And that all of that is true. And I am the Rockin' Reverend Todd Laddick. I am an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church of Greater New Jersey, serving a congregation in Newton, New Jersey. The first, granted there are no second, third, fourth, or fifth, but the first United Methodist Church of Newton, New Jersey. And I am on higher ground from whoever is beneath that church at any given moment geographically.
Mm-hmm.
So the way God ordained it.
It's okay because it's now a Seventh-day Adventist. It's now a Seventh-day Adventist that Todd is above, so it's okay.
That's true. Well, that is fitting. I love those Seventh-day Adventists, but come on. Cool.
Reverend Blake Severson, the Viking vicar, pastor of South Park Presbyterian Church for another couple of weeks. Then we changed our name and location and all kinds of other things. But ordained minister of Word and Sacrament, a title I will always claim versus teaching elder.
Freaking man.
Yeah, but in the PCUSA and Viking aficionado in general.
And I agree with you. Doesn't it go without saying that elders teach? Like you don't need that to be a title.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
in
our polity, it matters.
Sacrament.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why I stumbled on my title there for a second, because I was like, do I call myself a teaching elder or a minister of Word and Sacrament? I just bumbled it out.
Yeah. Well, you'll always be a minister of Word and Sacrament to me, Sal.
Yes,
that's right.
Always.
And validated. You are validated.
And validated.
Your words are very sacramental when I hear them. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel validated.
Good.
I love gushing on you. Okay. Well, I guess that brings us to our He Does or Does Not Brew segment.
Hey, guys.
Yep.
Hey, what?
I think I'm going to retire the joke.
Okay.
Really?
The joke is being retired.
I think
it's the way we've always done it, Sal.
This was a real "Hey guys" announcement here. Like he was, we were like waiting for the same to come out, and it just didn't.
Sundays are crazy.
Man,
Sundays are crazy.
What's gonna happen?
We know that God loves coffee because He wrote about it in the Book of Hebrews.
There you go. Oh boy, I love it. That joke is great. So who's going first?
I can. Okay. I'm drinking Grizzly Claw from Kicking Horse again. Pretty much my favorite coffee there is. Same prep, double shot out of our espresso machine. The best $500 we ever spent ever.
The espresso machine.
The machine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, is it an espresso or?
No, we actually have to like pack it, tamp it.
Oh, like a real espresso.
It's the real deal. And man, like I kid you not, when I say like, very rarely has like something where people are like, oh, if you get it, like you'll save so much money. It's worth the investment. I've never found that to be true with almost anything except for this. Like we've stopped going to coffee shops because it's just better at home and we already have the coffee. We have more than made back the money that we spent on it. No question.
Yep. Yeah, you're your own barista at that point. Mm-hmm. And you know how you like your coffee. Nobody makes your coffee the way you like to make your coffee. I mean, it's just
right.
Yeah. Amen. Here.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm drinking the old standby Tim Hortons.
Timmy Hose.
Out of not out of a $500 espresso machine, out of a $80 Keurig machine, which probably is a lot worse.
It's a Keurig.
Gotcha.
Wow. I guess he did brew today then. Just differently because I have here from the land of the mighty angry Erik, and I can't. It's going to be Stryper.
Stryper.
I just got to put myself in it. Okay, so here I have. Oh, look at this! I just got to put myself into the picture, and that works. So I have angry Erik's Erik the Orange here. Obviously, a play on Erik the Red. Mr. Viking would know that. Viking Vicar, I should say. And so Erik the Orange is an ale that is made has orange in it somehow, some way, and it is also oaked, so it picks up a vanilla flavor, and it is beautiful release for this time of year. And so I'm going to now attempt to open this up. And if it won't open up the easy way, then I will have to get manly with it, and that's fine too. Because this is as manly as I get. I'm watching the Viking Vigor go, really manly? Really? Okay. Sure. All right. Oh, that even like... Oh, and I'm drinking it, and this is going to be very hard to see until I... What? And it's showing up because it's clear. That's weird. I'm drinking it in their... I think it's their 8th anniversary.
Nice.
It was this year or something like that, but it's their anniversary glass for this year. So here we go. I'll let you hear the fizz and all of that, you know. So this is fresh from the tap from yesterday. Brought it home for today because you got to come prepared. And bro, it's so good. Bros, I should say.
I have to say, on my birthday a couple weeks ago, treated myself to some Angry Erik's, their brown ale. I forget what they call it, but their brown ale. King Canute. King Canute. And yeah, it's really good. I can finally get it up here in West Milford, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to FedEx them out to Blake.
And they do pronounce. I'm pretty sure they pronounce it. Is it Canute? Is it a god?
K-N-U-T.
K-N-U-T.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a god, but definitely a famous Viking. I mean, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so
Canute's like calling somebody Tim.
what's neat about them is they take those famous Viking names and like so King Nut, right, or King Canute, which is probably the way to pronounce it, but they pronounce it King Nut because it has, and you can attest to this. You drink it and it's maple up front, maple brown ale up front, and then there's this nuttiness that comes up behind it, and it's so good. So King Canute, King Nut, either way, King freaking ale. Yep, sweet. That was on tap this weekend, by the way, Sal.
Nice.
So that is our Hebrew segment, which brings us to our most excellent music segment.
May the 4th edition.
May the 4th edition. That's right.
Yeah.
Now we'll see what that sounds like, echoey.
You're trying to like get us onto some ASMR channels or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
ASMR. Have you ever listened to someone drinking?
Oh God.
Sorry.
That's the worst.
Okay. I'm in rare form. It is a Sunday.
Yeah. Our work week is over. See you next Sunday.
I gotta love
Yeah,
it.
you guys got a lot done in your 1 hour a week, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I was asked, I was questioned, how much, not by anybody from my church, ironically. No, my church loves this stuff because they get the benefit of it. But I was asked by somebody, a colleague of sorts, or a retired colleague, I should say, and how many hours do you put into recording podcasts over, working at the church? I'm like, well, in terms of my living, life-giving water podcast, well, as long as it takes to write and preach a sermon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really? Not much, man.
Yeah.
People don't understand technology. They just don't get it. It's cool.
No, and this, I do know this certain retired clergyman, and same question could be asked of him 50 years ago. How much time did you put into your work in the community over your church?
Yeah, correct. Sal's pulling off the Great Disappearing Act, which is awesome. I was going to say, it was really kind of sexy having Sal as a disembodied voice, but
somebody was trying to call me.
Don't you hate when that happens? That happens.
I sent him the voicemail.
Yeah, that happens to me when I was preaching, actually, because I used my iPad as of course they're connected, so somebody tried to call me while I was preaching. I'm like, really? And it was somebody who should have known better.
Yeah.
But
I'll never forget. I was in the middle of preaching one Sunday, and I had doing pulpits by here in West Milford, actually, put my cell phone down because I use it as a hotspot to bring up my prayers and stuff. And I'm literally in the middle of my sermon, and the whole entire lecture started shaking. And it was Bristol Glen because of the state entered. And I was like, yeah, it's a Sunday. Don't bother me on a Sunday.
Yeah.
yes, of course. So, boy, that was a long intro to.
She was.
Anyway.
Most excellent music segment.
What are we
We
listening
can
to?
almost re-intro it. Okay, so who's going first? I mean, I can, or somebody else can, either way.
Go for it.
Go for it.
So I have, as Sal well knows, been really, really, really into Stryper. Like, one of the things I do for my practice, my London practice every year, is to listen to not mostly all Christian or instrumental. So the instrumental doesn't have to be Christian per se, but it has to have some sort of spiritual connection. I have to have some sort of spiritual connection to it. It needs to be kind of a thing that brings me to a spiritual place. So I do that every year. And this year, instead of listening to worship songs, I found myself listening to Christian metal and Christian rock, So I was listening to Petra, I was listening to Demon Hunter, other things. But then I decided, I was like, let me check out Stryper. I haven't listened to them in forever. And just found myself just like, wow, like, I always knew that they were good and I always loved them. But like, it's been so long since I've listened to them, I forgot how good they were, even though they wore spandex and did the whole full 80s thing. But man, they're just such a good band. They really are. And so one song that's been really speaking to me, I think it's the absolute message of the resurrection. And that is To Hell with the Devil. Good old classic Stryper song. And so I'll just read the lyrics to that. That's a song I really, really love. Let me see if I can find the lyrics to that, because, usually those are the first that pop up. But for whatever reason, today, Stryper's showing videos. Okay, here we go. So, To Hell with the Devil says, well, speak of the devil, he's no friend of mine. To turn from him is what we've got in mind. Just a liar and a thief, the word tells us so. We like to let him know where he can go. To hell with the devil, to hell with the devil. When things are going wrong, you know who to blame. He'll always live up to his name. He's never been the answer. There's a better way. We are here to rock you and to say, to hell with the devil, to hell with the devil. And I'm like, one thing I really like about Stryper is they got, and Petra too, they got like that rock and roll was a vehicle to really in fact, not only is it a vehicle, but Jesus, I mean, you want to talk about heavy metal, die and then come back to life. That's freaking heavy metal, right? Like, that's heavy. And so like Stryper gets that, and they pump it to arena metal, like hair metal levels, and it was just, I just have been such a Stryper fan. Also, their new stuff is just as good as their original stuff, and they get a little bit more political, though it's subtle. If you read the last 3 or 4 albums they've had, read the track listings, you can tell it's in the age of Trump, and it's a response to Trump, especially the 2020 albums, which is their most recent album. What is the name of that one again?
Even the Devil Believes.
Even the Devil Believes. One of the tracks on that album is Make Love Great Again. I wonder what that's referring to, I wonder what that's a play on. So, I love the fact that these guys are truly metal. Like, they're Christian, yes, but they're truly metal. It's about standing up and telling the man no. This is not the direction we're supposed to go in. We're supposed to go in that man's direction, not that man's direction, and I love that about them. So I'm done.
Saul, go ahead. Mine kind of ties into our main segment, I think.
Okay. I have been listening a lot to the, I think I mentioned it last time, the soundtrack to The Lost Kingdom. So if you haven't watched that series or listened, I think I sent one of the tracks to you guys. Go check it out. But for this episode, I have, I don't know if you've heard the band Theocracy.
Yes, love them.
Yep. Kind of like a prog metal band, but they're Christian. And so Ghost Ship, the title song on that album, came out in 2016. The chorus of that song is, pay the piper, here we go. Got a ticket for a one-way journey. Slay the viper. Come follow, even if you're ordinary. There's a place for you here. Raise the anchor. All aboard as the captain calls his misfits. This ghost ship sets off to shake the world. Let's go. So I don't know about you guys, but I grew up feeling not so ordinary and a misfit. So
I lived on the island of Misfit Toys right along with you, Stel. Yep. Something tells me Blake was there too. It's hard to see each other on the island Misfit Toys because you just feel like such a misfit.
Yeah.
You know? Why are we such a misfit? Oh, sorry.
My backup was a Jason Gray song that I posted on Facebook, kind of as a dedication to Calvin and soon to be Alex.
I'm so excited.
Around the time you guys hear this, I will probably be at the hospital welcoming a little baby boy into the world.
Yes, and what time? What date is baby boy's due date technically?
Technically, May 8th. So we're in that two week window. So the doctor on Tuesday very may well say,
the congregant just announced another due date for his granddaughter, or somebody. I think granddaughter. She's due on May 5th. So I was like, because I actually lifted you and Allison up in prayer this morning, Sal, just to let you know that at church. And so after I did that came the May 5th announcement. And I was like, ooh, so we got a couple 2 week window babies in there. So yeah, it's exciting.
But Jason Gray's song that he actually wrote it to his kids. But one of the verses says that I hope it's basically what I wish for you is the song is about. He wishes his kids face adversity because he knows that it'll make them closer to God and learn from it. But one of the verses says that I hope you can forgive yourself because if you're like me, you'll probably cause a lot of hell. Maybe one day you can add me to the list as well of what I hope you can forgive. So, a little preemptively, I'm going to ask my kids to forgive me for whatever I do to them.
Well, trust me, that is a good thing to do because I did that as well. And I did that all through life, like preemptively, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not perfect. And when I did something, if I overreacted on something, even though the fundamental reason why I was mad was right, maybe the way I handled it wasn't, I would always apologize and kind of say, look, I'm not perfect. And it's a good thing to do that because it will be less shocking when later in life they go to therapy and say, yeah, Dad, we thank you for your preemptive plea for forgiveness. We do forgive you. Now we're going to counseling. Because it's every parent, it's every child, right? Like your parents do the best they can with what they've got, hopefully, and not everybody has that, but most people do, but they're imperfect human beings and they make their mistakes and they scar their kids along the way, just like their parents did, and so on and so forth. So it's just human nature. But hopefully we don't scar them too much. Hopefully it's healthy scarring that leads them to be better human beings, not like actual scarring because we beat them behind the woodshed or something. We're talking metaphorical here, not literal.
Yeah.
Literal scarring, not good, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that leaves you, Blake.
Yeah. So I've got two. One is kind of a shout out and in memoriam for Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters, who died since we last got together.
By the way,
awful.
Before you go into that, I have a question. Have you seen Studio 666?
Not yet, no.
It is good.
I bet you loved it. I thought about you when it came out. I was like, yeah.
I just totally so rented it, and I'm gonna own it when I can. It was only for rent at this time, but yeah. Great movie, and Taylor Hawkins obviously is in it, and it was touching, but also bittersweet to see him.
Mm-hmm.
So
so I don't know if you remember the Sonic Highways album they did. It was marginally well received, but they did this
a lot of stuff.
You like a lot of things, but they. They recorded in all these different places, and they would kind of like go to the community the city they were going to record in, and then kind of like get a feel for the place and then write a song based off of what they experienced. And my favorite song off of that album which is honestly one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs ever, is I Am a River. And it came out in 2015, and it hit right around the time I was getting my butt handed to me in my last call. And, they're not a Christian band by any means, but I remember hearing this song and feeling like Jesus was calling out to me through it. It was incredible. And so can you make me host, Todd? Or co-host?
I can make you host, absolutely, yes, and then just deliver that back to me.
Yeah,
once
we'll do. But there's this beautiful, the channel changing, the heart is racing from voices on the wire, the soul is yearning, the coal is burning, the ember starts a fire. Can we recover love for each other, the measure of your life? But this chorus is the thing that always gets me. And so we're good now. Share sound. Nope, I don't want you to see my Facebook. Ooh, it's happening. Yeah, right.
But we love your Facebook.
Why can't I? There it is. So I'm going to just hit play here. It's right at the point where this chorus hits. And in the rawness of that moment of my life, I go back to it just about every time I hear that chorus, because I was listening to it all the time, because it was just this intense, like, I felt like, Jesus is calling me to join in with him in this really beautiful sense. Right. And so that was a song from that time. And it's just one that every time I think of the Foo Fighters, I think of that. And it's this wonderful kind of, experience of the gospel coming through a very secular song. Because they're just, they're reading about a underground river they found when they went through some door in Soho, right? Like, that's the whole song. And that's what came out of it. It's really incredible.
What it reminds me of, actually, is, and a former band of Grohl's, obviously, Nirvana. The song Polly. This is a style of writing that came out in grunge in the 90s, but this idea of reflecting more accurately the reality around you. A lot of rock before that had been like, let's party it up, we're the big boys in town. Woo-hoo. And Nirvana came around and said, yeah, life kind of sucks, and let's show you how. Let me count the ways. And so they wrote this song about this local girl that was abducted, kidnapped, and tortured, hung upside down, tortured with the blowtorch, everything, and wrote this song Polly from the perspective of the perpetrator. But in this, the twist that Kurt Cobain added to it was that she tricks him into thinking she likes it and then finds a way to escape. Now, she does escape. We don't know how or whether she did that or not. So that was his addition to it. But it was like her outwitting him in the song, even though it's from his perspective. And I think about Dave Grohl, and I think about Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, and those two, obviously, and their linking connection together, but also Dave Grohl's continuing songwriting, which has just grown deeper and deeper and deeper over the years. The dude just is able to take you to a perspective that you're not in and make you feel it. And that's what that reminds me of. This is Soho versus somebody being raped in the basement of some creepy guy's house. But again, able, and that song Polly would have never been, that could not be recorded today. That would not be an okay song to sing, like in any stretch of the imagination. And then two of his fans ended up raping a girl singing that song to them, and he found out about it and dedicated the new wave Polly on Incesticide, which is even heavier and angrier, to what he called those two wastes of sperm. And I'm so disheartened to know that there are plankton like that in my audience. So, I hope they got the message. Anyway, that's off on a tangent, but Dave Grohl is a hero of mine, one of my heroes. And from his days to Nirvana through the Foo Fighters, the guy is just awesome. And the band's awesome. Pat Smear, all of them. They're legends.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you haven't listened to Taylor Hawkins and the Tailcoat Riders, his solo project stuff, it is great.
So good, awesome. Man. Taylor Hawkins. Here's the Taylor Hawkins, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Cheers.
So my second song is a similar song. It was one that came out around the same time, and as I was thinking about the songs that I have chosen when we've talked about this, right? In most of the times, it comes from these places where things aren't working. Most of the songs that are the most important to me come to me or are meaningful in times when things aren't working. And so this is a song called White Capstone by Project 86. And so the main chorus goes, lost in your light, the only way I'll make it through is lost in your light. I close my eyes and disappear in white. And then there's this really powerful, and I mean, I don't know, I must be feeling raw today or something, but this really powerful part of the song, it says, so tell me it was worth it. Tell me I will make it. Tell me all of this was not in vain. Remind me of your promises. Remind me of your faithfulness. Remind me this was never about me. And, like I said, it draws me back to that moment that I first heard it and what I was feeling when that was going on. But it also kind of reminds me that music, so much of the music that I love is stuff that has gotten me through difficult times, right? When stuff isn't working, when it feels like all hell is breaking loose. And the things that I want aren't happening. And it's encouraging, right? It kind of gives you a place to retreat to in the midst of what feels like this hellacious storm, and to kind of hold on until it passes and then kind of move forward into the new thing. And both of those songs were that for me in that season, and have remained so in other seasons. And I find myself going to find them when I need them again. So it's the beauty and the power of good music that leads us into those places. But to segue, if we might, it's also we talked last time about this idea of what do you want, right? And I've talked really clearly about this thing that I had just gone through that made me realize like what I want and what our family wants is to live in Alaska. And that's the plan now. That's the project. That's what we're doing. And it also then reminded me of this book, A Million Miles in 1,000 Years by Donald Miller. Highly recommend it. It's an easy read, fast read, brilliant read. It's not quite on the level of Ragamuffin Gospel, but it's got that same vibe to it. There's some really beautiful gospel in it.
On Amazon or something.
Yeah, it's just tremendous. Well, go through bookshop.com, all you listeners. It benefits local bookshops. It costs a little bit more, but it's worth it. Yeah, bookshop.com. Cool. You can select a local bookshop, and then they get a little bit of extra kick out of it.
That's cool. Yeah, cool.
So, but this guy talks about Donald Miller. He's a writer. It's what he does for a living. And he talks about this story to basically what it takes to be a story or to make a good story. And And the basic premise of what a good story is somebody who wants something and overcomes adversity to get it. Right. And one of his phrases is, nobody is going to go to a movie about a person who wakes up to buy a red sedan with leather seats. Because it's not a compelling story. It's not a compelling thing to want, right? It's got to be higher stakes than that. And they're also not going to go to a movie where everything works out, like most Christian movies, might I add. There's got to be real serious stakes and real serious difficulty, which is what all of the great stories that we've ever loved have had in common, is that basic arc. Somebody wants something, and they have to go through something to get it. And I found, that this music that I gravitate to it sort of fits that particular mold, right? It's this way to kind of assist me in getting through the adversity of trying to get to where I want to get. So yeah, it was a fascinating kind of connection that's kind of brewed up over the last month or so. But, so yeah, I mean, you all know what I want. I'm very clear at this point what I want, and where my wife is on board, and our family's on board. Even, I was a little worried to talk to my dad and my stepmom about it, because they're very like, don't rock the boat. You can have fun when you can have fun when you retire, and But they made this big move from Wisconsin to Arizona because she had wanted to live in Arizona for 20 years. And she finally said, like, it's got to happen. We're doing it.
So they're telling you to do what they didn't do.
So they're just like, well, I mean, really, we had this really beautiful conversation, which doesn't often happen with my side of the family, of like,
great,
absolutely, don't wait. It was a mistake to wait.
Because they waited and then eventually made the decision, and they could have made it earlier. Right.
They could have done it before, right? And so, they really were like, yeah, go get what you want. Like, live the life you want to live. Like, why?
And if
it
lines up with what God wants, it's going to happen. Period.
Well, yeah. And kind of like I said last week, I believe that for us, especially, like, being in that place is a part of what is best for our faith, in our walk, in our life as a family, 100%. So
that's why it's on your heart.
Right. It couldn't possibly get in the way.
Right. No.
So anyway, so you all know what I want. I asked you guys what you wanted. There are some things that can and cannot, be mentioned, but has any clarity come to that? Is there any adversity popping up around some of those unnamed things? I'll
let Daddy to be again. Daddy to be again. Which is all of us. Daddy to be again. I'll let him go first, but I do. So, yeah.
I haven't put a lot of thought into this since our last conversation, but I think I talked about with Alex on the way. I think I want to be a better person. Calvin has done that. Allison's done that. How can I talk about this without being too personal?
Sure.
That is always the question when you're a public speaker.
Yeah.
How do I make this not inappropriate?
How do I use my family as the sample without giving too much detail?
And when you can't, you do what I did last time and say, "Yep, checking out."
There were there still are some old habits from my previous marriage that I do that caused that divorce, that started to manifest in the current marriage. And God bless Allison. She decided not to run away like my last wife. And
I agree with her. I agree with you. I mean, God bless her.
God bless her. Because, like I said in my music selection, I will put people through hell, I'm sure. But yeah. So,
me too.
But the miracle of anxiety meds and the miracle of being self-aware, I mean, that's something I've done in my chaplaincy training, and I'm sure you guys have done it in some of your ministry training and experience of learning. Even if you're not the most self-aware person, you learn to become self-aware. and you learn how to process yourself and your feelings, and then here's the kicker: communicate them. So in the past couple months, there's been a drastic change in our marriage, for the better. So hopefully that's not, I'm sure when Allison listens to this, she'll either kill me or say, thank you for not sharing too much. But
for not sharing too much. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you kept it general enough that she'll appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah. So anyway,
and you know what?
So it makes clear what you want too, right? It makes clear that what you want is to keep this family together and to do what you need to do to be a part of that, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Made
man.
Very clear. Not only that I want to be a better person, like I said last time, but actually, I don't want to do it just for me. I want to do it for.
Amen.
Well, at the very least, Allison deserves a better husband, and definitely at the very least, Alex and Calvin deserve a father who's present and mindful of that. And I want them to learn. I want them to learn how to be better than I have been.
And the reality is, Sal, they're going to grow up to be their own people, and they're going to have their hang-ups like you did, like Allison does, like we all do. But what you're doing is trying to give them the best opportunity to become the messed up human beings they're going to become, so that they have the best opportunity to be the best parents to raise the, let's be honest, hot messes that their kids will become. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the way. That's humanity. We do the best we can with what we got. That's it.
That's exactly it. I understand that they're going to have their own life experiences and whatever issues in life, but as Allison says, cheers. As Allison says, at the very least, we want them to be able to come to us and be safe with us and say, this is what's scaring me, or this is what's...
Amen. Open communication. Yep. Open communication.
Which Allison for sure did not have growing up, and I had to a degree, but family dynamics kind of...
I had it too. I had open communication with my parents for the most part. There's always those boundaries that keep you from talking one way or the other to your parents for this or that. But I knew I could go to my parents for anything, come hell or high water, and they'd support me. I wouldn't always like their way of supporting me, but they would support me. But, at the same time, Bernie didn't, she had that in some ways, certainly with her mom. Her mom was totally there for her. But her family dynamics were a lot different than mine, and she did not have it to the degree that I did, for sure. And I'm not sharing too much. That's just, that's just, she would agree with that. So, but with that said, we've got to be the best that we can be, and if we don't want that for ourselves, we're really effed up. If we don't want to be better than we are now, and I don't care who you are, if you don't want to be better than you are now, why are you living? Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that in some sort of like go kill yourself way, like suicidal way. I don't want that to be taken wrong. But like what is your purpose? If you think that you have hit the pinnacle of the best you can be, and I don't think anybody does. I would be surprised if anybody does. So thank you, Sal. Thanks for your honesty, and I'm sure, I don't want to speak for Allison, but I know Allison, and I'm sure she'll appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. And I also want someone to pay off my Wrangler, but that's a side thing.
You want what?
Someone to pay off my Wrangler, my Jeep.
Oh, your Wrangler, of course. Yeah. Yes. Well, if you really...
Well, that one, there it is. We just found the one that's going to get Sal in trouble. There it is.
That will get Sal in trouble. Now, everything else was sincere and wholehearted, and would have it bought you a year of love.
You were doing
now
so
we've
good.
Cut
buddy.
that down.
You were doing so good.
We just cut that down by half a year.
But that's sincere too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Good. I'll have to remember to add that in at the end of mine to see how it works. We have 2 people. This is a controlled test here. Okay. And I just unplugged myself, so if I'm speaking really loud, I can't hear what I'm doing. I'll keep doing that all day long. So though it looks like night on Stryper, I keep looking and it's like it looks like Jesus is about to die on the cross there, and God is going to strike holy hell down on the earth. Yes. So anyway, what do I want? So last time, it's not that what I spoke of wasn't what I want. That is what I want. But you were right, Blake, to push back, because I don't think any one of us don't want the things that I was mentioning in the context that we're all in. And I do want that. And coming off of a pandemic, especially with how uncertain everything has been, I would like nothing more than those things I said at the last episode. And if you want to hear them, go back there and listen to them. For this episode, to bring this forward, what do I want in my life? Well, I have spent the last year of my life, almost, not quite a year, but the last year of my life really soul searching my I'll take my glasses off for this because this is serious. Soul searching the last year about my own struggle with mental health. I suffer from mental illness. I have to say that publicly and out loud, and I'll say that as loud as I can. I always thought it was depression, and I do have chronic depression. There's no doubt about it. My psychologist, when I was a teenager, told my mom that that's something probably I'll be taking medicine or something for the rest of my life. Like, there's a chemical imbalance up there, and that is what it is. Did I freeze?
Yeah. Video did at least. Your sound is still good.
Okay, I'm back. Am I not freezing anymore? Cool.
You're there.
Yep, you're there.
Cool, I'm back. Okay, so I'll edit that out, obviously. But where did you last hear?
We've heard all of it.
Did you hear it all?
We heard all of it.
But I just was frozen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'll figure a way to edit that together. But basically what I was saying is that, I went, over this year, I really discovered that anxiety is actually more my issue than depression. Like the psychologist always told me that, told my mom that, I may be struggling with depression the rest of my life, but nobody ever checked me for anxiety. And the more I realize it, I suffer from social anxiety. I suffer from anxiety in general. Like, I have pretty paralyzing anxiety, and it caused me to take care of that, even though that's not what I thought I was doing, in ways that were less than healthy. Let's put it that way. And this last year, I was able to find healthy ways to address my anxiety and my depression. Now, is it completely gone and away? No. But it is under control and mainly non-existent now, mainly. Except healthy doses of anxiety as people across the world experience. Some anxiety is good. You don't want to be completely like a laid back couch potato, but you want to be able to handle life in a normal kind of way. And normal's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. So what do I want? What do I want after this last year of reflecting on who I am and ways of becoming the better me? And I have become a much better me over the last year. And it's hard for people who don't know me and don't live with me day to day to see that, because you're just seeing Preacher Todd or you're seeing Party on Johncast Todd, but you're not seeing Todd on the day to day, the different things I struggle with. And that's always the case for every human being out there that you You think you know because you see them, but you don't know because you don't really see them. You just see what they want you to see. And so what do I want? I want peace. Like most of my life, I've had moments of peace. There are times where I really do feel at peace. Right now, I feel at peace. But most of my life has been a freaking war. That's just it. I've been at war with myself, at war with my demons, at war with the demons outside of me that feel like they're just trying to take me down for no good reason. Like, at war with every last thing I could possibly worry about. This side of the green grass, and I want peace. That's what I want. So whatever I can do to get that, I'm gonna do it. Whatever it takes. And part of that is also one of the weird things that we're going through right now. I'm going through right now is one of our daughters is now a permanent resident in Florida. That's a huge life announcement, by the way. Since the last time we recorded, she has gotten hired by Disney part-time, and I'm sure that will go to full-time when she can, but she's part-time, and she's transferring down to college down there, and she's a full-time resident of Florida and not looking to move back. So that's one transition in my life, and the second transition is my youngest daughter, and I only have two, because I thought that by the third, if I tried for another boy, it would be a third daughter. And not that I have anything wrong with my two daughters, but 3 weddings is a little much. So I thought 2 was a good stop. It was a good cutoff. I love my daughters. Wouldn't trade them for the world. I'm glad I had 2 daughters and not a boy, but I knew that third boy wasn't going to happen. So, or at least I hedged my bets with Murphy's Law. So yeah, my youngest daughter now has accepted where she's going to go to university, and she is looking to go into psychology and therapy, and she'll be great at it. She really will. But I'm looking at another child who's about to spread their wings and leave. And while I didn't think that college would be the last time my oldest daughter ever lived in our house again, it turned out that way. So that very well could be the case with our next daughter. Who knows? Either way, we'll roll with it. But I just, like, that puts my wife and I in a different position now, because it's always been kids. And any parent knows that that's when you have kids, that's what it becomes. Kids. And your own marital life can kind of fall by the wayside. Like the playtime, the dating, the things that you used to do before you had kids kind of go by the wayside. And as much as you try to be intentional against that, and as much as Bernie and I have done things and gone on dates and stuff, there hasn't been a whole lot of it. And we're in this place now where we need to refine ourselves as a couple, which many couples do. I mean, that's the other side of parenting, right? Is finding yourselves again. So what do I want? Peace and that, to find ourselves again and to be, in this new phase of life together, which I'm sure we will be. But that's what I want. And to be a better person. I'm not gonna. I can't throw that out, Sal. To say to be a better dad, a better husband, a better person. Absolutely what I want to be. Yep. How's that, Sal? Better than last time?
Hey, it's all good, man. I just yeah. But
I had a little more time to think about it, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's both of those things, all these things, right? They have conflict, right? They have stuff you have to overcome, stuff you have to deal with, which is part of why I wanted to wear this shirt, this sweet.
I love that shirt, man.
Sweet shirt from grimfrost.com. I want to be an ambassador for their company so bad. It's just nothing but Viking stuff. But it's a rune, kind of a take on a rune stone.
Love runes.
Which the runes around, see, there's like the stone, and then there's these words that trail around the edges. Is from this ancient book of basically Viking proverbs called the Havamal,
Havamal, yep.
And this is Havamal 16. An unwise man thinks he'll live forever if only he can avoid a fight. But old age will give him no peace, even if weapons do. And in that verse, I've always kind of felt like, did I freeze now?
Nope, you're good.
Todd froze again.
He's not even the frozen chosen.
Crazy. Well, he's really out.
I think you want to wait for him to come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one in Ohio is super duper exciting. If we can get it, I think it might be if they offer, it's probably going to be the one we end up choosing.
Okay.
For a number of reasons. It's good. It's good congregation. It's still an interim, which is what we want. We don't want anything long term. You back, Todd?
I'm back.
There we go.
Sorry about that. So Blake, you were talking about the runes. What do the runes mean again? That's where we were.
Yeah. So
when I left.
The runes are from Havamal number 16. An unwise man thinks he'll live forever if only he can avoid a fight. But old age will give him no peace, even if weapons do.
Amen. Age and death are the great leveler, aren't they?
Right. But
you can have all the weapons in the world. You're gonna freaking die someday.
But the point of it too, right, is this is my pastor shirt. I'm gonna start wearing this shirt to session meetings. Because we avoid conflict. We avoid the hard stuff so often, thinking it will save us. But in the end, it comes and gets us all the same.
Yeah.
And kind of, I feel that connects well to this question of what do you want and overcoming difficulty to get what you want, because, Sal, you know what you want. Todd, you know what you want. I know what I want. But if we're not going to go through the hard stuff to get it, it's not going to happen.
Never going to happen. Right.
And that's kind of the beauty of these stories that we have loved, that, in music, of course, but then of course, the story of all stories, the gospel of Luke Skywalker, that's a story of, it would have been easier for them to stay out of the fight, safer even.
For sure.
But they wouldn't.
A lot safer.
A lot safer. It's a lot.
You can question that over the scheme because they still end up being slaves and pawns of the empire. But yeah, in terms of their personal selves, a lot safer.
Yeah, it's so much easier to just go along with what the empire wants than it is to push against it. But that doesn't get you what you want. Doesn't get you where you want to be. For us, where we're at, we know we have to make a move. Staying here we're building inertia. I think Todd's gone again.
Yep,
yeah,
gone again.
Man, tough signal day.
I think the Empire doesn't want this discussion to happen.
That's right.
I'm back.
There he is. I was going to say the Russian trolls know we're coming for him in the bonus section.
Russian trolls are out to get us.
They're coming. But I think that's why I love stories like Star Wars. And we have not gotten back to Cobra Kai, which we need to do. But
we
need
to get back to, because we haven't talked about the new season, have we?
Right. But
we need to. Yeah.
If nothing else, right? Have you guys seen the memes? Men will literally do this instead of go to therapy, right? Men will literally kill an entire race of people and become a tool of the empire to avoid therapy. # Darth Vader.
Hashtag Darth Vader. Hashtag.
Yeah, right. But all Anakin ever wanted was to be seen as brave and bold and all of these things, but he wouldn't actually do the hard stuff he needed to do to make that be real. And so
he tried to take shortcuts, and
he tried to take it instead of earn it.
And the tragedy is he had people on his left shoulder and his right shoulder, and on the right shoulder they were saying, "Dude, no, you got to be aware of fear. You got to be aware of yourself. You've got to be aware of these things that are brewing in you. They're important, you know, like." Mm-hmm. And then on the left shoulder, you had people going, "Feed into it. Feed into it. It's the
this
way
is way
to go.
easier. Just do this.
Go. You'll save your wife, otherwise she could die." And, you know, like they fed into his fears, and he ended up being the death of his wife. Spoiler alert, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Oh, what a painful tragedy, right? Like that's Greek tragedy at its highest. Star Wars, man. It's the hero who becomes the villain, the fallen hero.
Yep.
And that's what the Dark Knight was about, right? Like that was the whole point of the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. The Joker could care less about what happened. He burned money, whatever, it doesn't matter. To him, he just wanted to bring the White Knight down. And he did that not in Batman. He knew Batman wasn't the White Knight. Batman was the opposite of himself. No, the White Knight was this district attorney who was not going to be bought out by criminals, but he ended up losing to himself. And that was the Joker's biggest win in that movie, was getting the White Knight to be tarnished.
Yeah.
And he did. That's where Two-Face was born.
Yeah. But, you know, I've had a sense for a long time that, you know, there's a reason these stories resonate with us as human beings, right?
Yes.
And it's because they're real. It's because, you know, we know what it is to want something and to have bad things happen along the way to trying to get it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I think a lot of, I've been thinking about midlife crisis lately. I'm like, you know, most people want a car. I apparently want to move to Alaska as like my midlife crisis. But I think what that is to me, you know, and tell me, you know, I may be wrong, and, you know, psychologists who are listening, you know, let me know if I'm totally wrong on this. But I feel like, at least for me, where I'm at in this point in my life, I'm just like, you know, life does feel like it's getting short, even though it's not. I'm 40. I've got a good chunk left, God willing.
40 is weird, isn't it, when you hit it?
It's weird.
It's weird.
But at the same time, I intend to say the same thing to my daughters, right? Don't put off something that you can reasonably attain.
Yeah.
Right? If it's your thing, if it is what makes your heart sing, just go get it.
Do it.
Because it will make it all better. It won't fix your problems. There will still be problems. There will still be conflict. There will still be trouble. There will still be bills and issues and all that. But, you know, I think that midlife crisis is just this point where people sometimes get where they're just like, I'm not putting off what I want anymore.
Right. Ironically, what will fix your problems, and in terms of this broken world, what will fix your problems is death. That's the great leveler.
It's
rich, poor, or otherwise,
right?
You're all gonna die, and when you die, there is like all the stuff you suffered before is gone. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can believe that you're worm food after that, or you can believe that there's something more to it. And that's where we lie our faith down on. But the reality is the great leveler is freaking death, man. There's a song, if you don't mind, if you will entertain me for this second here.
Sure.
And I know you have a hard out on soon, Sal, so we're gonna go to our conclusion soon. But there is the song by, and they're a pagan rock band. I'll be honest. They're called Incubus. No, not Incubus. Incubus Succubus. And yeah, there it is. And they have a song called "The Leveler," and it's about death, actually, and it's about the things that. Unfortunately, we as Christians should be looking to level things while people are alive rather than looking to level things, you know, through death. But this is a true story. Here's the Leveler lyrics by Incubus Succubus. And in fact, you know what I'll do? because you have shown me, Blake, that there is technology here that we can use. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and you can actually hear it, which means that I will have to put this to speaker.
Make sure when you do the share, you share sound as well. I make that mistake all the time.
Oh, when you share a screen, you can share sound, and I can actually be on my earphones, and that's okay?
It should. Yeah, it should be. It should make it so we all hear it.
Okay, so I'm going to share a screen, and I'm going to do Chrome, Google Chrome. That's where I want to go. And we're going to do advanced. And how do you share computer audio?
Yep.
You want to share the audio, or can you share both?
You can do both. So like when I get it, a little thing will pop up that says share screen. And then there's a little box to tag on the left-hand corner of that says share sound.
Okay, so it's in the basic?
I think so.
Oh, share sound. I see it. Yes, I see it. I see it. You are the best, man. Did I ever tell you you're the best? Because you are.
No. Well, thanks.
Well, you're welcome. Glad.
No, I feel
optimized for video clip too while I'm at it, and then that way this is going to be great. I love this because we're like real time. I have to grant privilege, so we're going to talk about this. I'm real time showing you how this works on a Mac. You may not be able to see it, but I can tell you, I am setting up those. And of course, I typed it wrong. I'm setting up those settings right now because we do this real time. Amen. Amen. So here we go. And I'm going to give Zoom the access to... I'm going to quit and reopen, which means one of you is going to be host. Give me a second. I'll edit this all out.
Sure.
Give me a second again.
Darn Apple products, man.
What's that?
Darn Apple
Stupid
products.
Apple products, man. It's not cool. All right, here we go. Leave meeting. I'm going to assign it. You know what? I'll assign it to you, Blake, since you're the guy I've been sharing with lately.
Sure. Yeah, so talking tomorrow night, told them that we're close to the end of the process with a couple others, so they were real motivated. So we might have quite the decision to make in the next week or two.
Nice. Is it a bigger congregation?
It's about the same, probably.
I'm back. Look at that. Hey, that was crazy. Look at that, man.
There you go.
Oh my God! And I'm the host again. I'm going to reclaim host. It says I can do that, so I'm going to do it. Maybe. Now I'll reclaim host. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with y'all, and I'll show you this song because it reminds me exactly what you were talking about, Blake, in terms of, like just how honestly how like death really is the great leveler, and what makes Jesus Christ the answer is that while we will all in death be equal to one another, in Jesus Christ we're equal in life. Amen. Mm-hmm. And we don't die. I mean, bodies are more, all mortality will crumble and fail, but there's more to us than just the body. And Jesus has got that covered, and we'll be in new bodies very shortly. So here is the song that I'm going to share with you all. So here we go. Oops, except that I think this is right. Yeah.
I think you forgot to hit the share sound.
Can you hear this all?
Nope.
No? Am I not sharing sound?
Yeah, so
you're not sharing sound.
Okay, we're going to do this again.
Yeah, make sure you tab that box.
I will. I probably did not. I did it before.
Yeah, it won't stay up. You have to do it every time.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. Share sound. So sorry about that. Let's start that again. How about that? And I'll optimize for video clip, and I will go to Google Chrome, Incubus, Succubus. I'll share, and we'll go back to the... Oh, and of course it's going to ask me for permission because, you know...
Apple.
Boy, I have a... Did not make that symbol. Okay, here we go. Now let me know if you can hear this. Give me thumbs up if you can hear it. End it there, but basically, like, the whole idea that he is the only true friend of the poor, meaning that as much as the rich say they're going to help the impoverished and blah blah blah, the people in power, really the only true friend of the poor is death. Like, that's what ends their impoverishment, and we don't like to think of it that way, but it's true. And the great leveler is death. No matter how rich you are, you could be Donald freaking Trump. You're gonna die someday, man. You're gonna die. It doesn't matter what you've gained. You will die. That is the great leveler. And maybe there's some revelry in there from the poor who are like, thank God, it's not just us finally. But I love that because it may be a pagan band, and you can see the pentacle there, and they're Wiccan, and that's where I first found them. Plus, they're gothic, and I love goth music. But there's truth in that song, man. There's truth. But the great news is that in Jesus Christ, you don't have to just wait for death. Hey, freaking man.
That's right.
But yes, without Jesus Christ, yes, death will level it all, for sure.
I heard this in church this morning from our pastor about Easter, and I loved how she said it. With Easter, hope seeps through.
Hope seeps through.
Hope seeps through.
That's cool.
And tie it back to May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, baby. Yes, this is why we're on May 4th today. Beware of the Revenge of the 5th.
Back to the Gospel of Luke Skywalker and Emperor. Rebellions are built on hope. That's all that they had to go against the imperial power and death. And
look at the American Revolution. You want to talk about? Look at Ukraine. Talk about current events.
Yeah, and we
Rebellions
will
are built on hope, baby.
Segment. Yeah.
Amen. It's the truth. And you want to talk about an empire trying to take over a free country. And I hear tell now about...
And you're frozen.
Yeah, he's having some tough internet.
That's that Mance internet.
Yeah, it must be, huh?
Yeah.
So where were you at? So, it's about same size congregation, probably be about a 2-year poll. Yeah, you cut out again.
I cut out just slightly, but I'm just letting it go.
Yeah, it's fine. Ride with it.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right.
Speaking of Viking, that's from Viking land up there in Norway.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, guys, this is a good end, and we have an awesome bonus content for all of you Patreons. Last time you all got to get the bonus content. This time, sorry, $5 a month. You do not want to miss it. We have great content, and you're helping support us just do what we do. We don't make money off of it. It literally just pays the bills. So support us. Thank you. I mean, I would love for us to get enough supporters that we could buy the beer or coffee that we're, like reviewing. That would be great. But literally, you're still just paying the bills at that point. So,
I actually like that idea. I've seen
your
some
support will be grateful.
I like that idea. I've seen other video blogs and podcasts do that. We should start a beer fund on the Patreon.
We should start a beer fund. And with that beer fund, hey, if you're paying like $5 a month, tell us what you want us to review. We'll freaking review it.
Right.
Listen, I have been cutting out beer out of my life except for the freaking podcast. So I literally was like, I've got to have something besides Poland Springs to review, guys. I'm gonna find. So I went yesterday and I picked up Erik the Orange. But yeah, tell us what you want us to review. We'll pick it up and we'll review it. But you got to chip in. That's come on. So chip in, help us out. We're not asking for $5 a month, man. Just one day of not having Starbucks will, the one day a month of not having Starbucks will eliminate your worry of $5 a month. Help us out. Don't you agree, Blake? Totally. Hey, we help ourselves out. Help us out too. So, with that said, I guess this is a good place for me to plug myself back in and say, be excellent to each other.
Don't be a jerk.
Skull.
Rock on.
Rock on.
Rock on.